We're here at WrestlingInc.com, the one and only Eli Drake with us.
The only. Go ahead.
The one and only Eli Drake here after his big night here at Impact Wrestling. Night of the W's, your event. Obviously didn't come out on the winning end tonight, but certainly the first ever pay-per-view in Binghamton. A pretty special night.
Well, the only thing to worry about is that I always win, even when I lose. See, a lot of people don't understand what that means, but there's a little hidden meaning in there, which basically means you always find, quiet down, dummy, I'm talking over here. Idiots. Anyway, so what basically happens is when you hit a little snag, you always find that opportunity, all right? So don't worry about it. But tonight was a great night. I got to play a little bit of piano, got to sing a little bit for everybody, a little everything. So my show, great night.
Yeah, it definitely certainly was. And September, this is going to air on pay-per-view all across the world, and they're really excited about that. Speaking of Impact Wrestling, I mean, you just re-signed here. How special is that for you? Because you really see where this company's going to keep being you, keep doing your thing.
It's amazing. I had options, obviously, to do other things, but I like my lifestyle right now. I like the idea of not being stuck in a warehouse 5 days a week. That's not a shot at anybody. That's a fact of life, if you will. And I just like my lifestyle living in LA. I didn't want to move to any other state. I didn't want to go anywhere else. And I like the freedom that I have to do what I do, be what I am, and make the money that I'm making. So everything's pretty good in my book and in my world. So it's okay to stay with Impact.
Yeah, certainly, and you know, the WWE expressing interest, of course, for you, and is it a case of, you know, like you said, you just love what you're doing, you're in your routine of doing things, getting better every day. Is that a possibility down the line with that company?
I don't know, and the reason I don't know is I've had a strange crossroads with this business over the last couple years. It's changed a lot. It doesn't feel like the same business I fell in love with 20, 30 years ago. But that's not to say that I can't still do my own thing, my own way. That's exactly what I've done. It's exactly what I've always done, and that's what I'll continue to do. But you know, it's wrestling's just changed in a lot of ways, not for the better, in my opinion. But again, if I can continue doing my thing, then who knows? We'll see what happens, and if I feel like I want to continue doing that at a much more exaggerated pace, if you will, as far as just the schedule and whatnot.
Yeah, certainly, you know, you look back at your past with WWE, and a gentleman named Dean Ambrose just returned to Monday Night Raw 2 weeks ago after an injury, and you know, people forget that you actually teamed with Ambrose at one time, right?
We actually lived together. We were roommates for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that. So yeah, I mean, we started at the same place. Even Sami Callihan was part of the trio with us. So there's a lot of names that came out of that HWA Cincinnati area. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that. That's a guy I'd like to work with again if we were ever to be on the same marquee. But I don't know. Who knows? Never say never.
Yeah, does his nickname live up to the moniker, I guess, so to speak, the Lunatic?
Well, I guess it depends when you catch him, but yeah, there used to be a dog that lived at our place that was frightened of him on a regular basis with the way he'd come in there. So yeah, I think so.
Certainly, yeah, we're looking forward to what happens. And you know, everybody talks about the last time you were down in NXT, the Bill DeMott situations and things like that, and obviously no love lost, I'm sure, after what happened to him.
Well, I mean, look, I think. I mean, obviously, I guess justice was served in some way with his exit there. Now, I will say I didn't get it to the degree of what I hear some of the guys got at FCW, where they were getting some of the physical stuff, because there were cameras and microphones and everything at the PC. So, like, eyes were on you at all times. So it was different ways that he'd mess with you. It was you know, here's the head coach. Like, you go to say hello. There's a big etiquette thing with wrestling. I don't know if you guys know it there, but every day you come in, you shake everybody's hand, you introduce yourself, you say hello, whatever. You go up to say hello to the head coach, who you figure is supposed to be your example, right? He looks at your hand and walks away. Tells other people he hates you, this stuff, but then tells you that he's working, and that's fine. And I could have chosen to react to that a certain way, but man, I have a habit of just being very straightforward. And He tweeted back to me recently after hearing me on Xbox podcast and said, I'm sorry if anybody feels that I hated them. It's BS. I completely ignored that tweet up to right now. Exclusive. But nah, I mean, I wanted to just be like, you know what, go after yourself, Bill. But I mean, as far as like something that I think about on a daily basis, no, I don't care. I mean, move on with your life. I moved on with mine. I'm loving life, making money doing what I love to do, making good money doing it, and I'm living comfortably. I drive a Corvette, live in LA, baby. Hell yeah.
Now we're talking big business right there, talking big business.
And that ain't a work.
That's for real. Eli Drake. And, Eli, working with Scott Steiner, how special was that? I know that, certainly some things ended probably differently than you expected.
Well, I mean, look, the second he gave me the old too sweet that everybody made a big deal about, and I'm like, you idiots. He was in the original group that did that, dummies. Like, he was in the NWO, the real thing. So that was really cool. And to do side-by-sides of him doing it with Hogan and Hall and Nash and whatnot, and then there's me and him doing it. It was cool. It was really special. It took me back to being in high school again. And then the fact that he was very selfless to work with, because that first day when he came in for the pay-per-view, I was like, Scott, you got another Frankensteiner in you? Completely thinking he was just going to be like, haha, yeah, right. He was like, yeah, I think I could do that. And I'm like, oh. Okay, cool. And then he was like, yeah, I'll do it off the top. I'm like, cool, we're in business. So, I don't know, man. Working with him was great.
Yeah, we actually had him right here on WrestlingInc.com at a Legends show down in Elmira, New York. And he said, yeah, I got one left. The Frankensteiner. He says they call it something different now other than what actually, some people are perceiving it. But it's definitely an interesting take. But the dummy list, where did that come from? How did this all come about?
The dummy list? Well, personally, that was a one-time thing. Basically, what ends up happening is every time I go out and do that, the fact of life, I got somebody in mind, maybe a couple somebodies in mind. It just has so happened the last time I did it, I had more than a couple somebodies in mind, so I had to go ahead and list them out. But generally, I think that was just a one-time deal.
Excellent. And your future. What do you want to accomplish? Certainly a lot to accomplish, and this thing keeps rolling and riding up high.
Well, I got to get my hands on that world title again. Aside from that, I'm also. You want to talk about just wrestling, or you want to talk about outside of this stuff?
Dude, anything.
I mean,
anything.
I'm trying to buy investment properties right now. Actually, I'm actually seeking investment properties in Las Vegas and Savannah, Georgia, and stuff like that. Trying to branch out. Diversify your bonds, all right? I'm in the stock market. I just cashed out my Bitcoin, made a nice little profit there. Actually, double my money, baby. So I'm just trying to get my hands on a lot of everything so that wrestling isn't my only thing. But of course, this is the main baby right now. It's paying the bills, more than that. And that's how I'm able to buy investment properties. So I'm a happy boy.
You're always working, man. Always working. And, a very charismatic guy, goes without saying. Where do you get that from? Where do you get the charisma?
God-given, I guess. I don't know. I used to be a psycho child that I'd spend a lot of time by myself, let's be honest. Part of that was just because I was the only one who always wanted to play. All the other kids had to go inside for whatever reason. I'm outside still playing by myself. And I was a big fan of Saved by the Bell.
Mr. Belding, man.
Mr. Belding, I used to see him on a regular basis at Dimples, which sounds like a strip club. It's not. Dimples is actually a famous karaoke bar that no longer exists in LA. But he used to be there every night singing karaoke. It's not a strip club, I swear.
Oh, man.
But that would be a good name for a strip club. Regardless, where was I? So I loved Zach Morris, obviously.
The Zach Attack.
So, friends forever. But you like that? So he would, you know how he'd always like time out and then he'd stop and talk to the camera? Yeah. So I can remember particular nights where I was out playing in the snow, or maybe I was shooting basketball by myself, and I would stop and like talk to this fake camera that didn't exist. I looked like a psycho child out there, and so I don't know if that's where it began, and just having the imagination of a child who had too much time to himself. But I think that's probably where it came from. So.
I'm going to lose a lot of street cred here, but maybe not. Hopefully, I gain street cred. But I have a Zach Morris pillow that I bought from a toy show, man. I still have it to this day. Yeah. Oh, man. It's true, man.
Still? Still on that thing?
Actually, I just bought it like a few months back.
Okay.
So it was
yeah,
like vintage. It was like a vintage toy. You know what I mean? It's vintage. But,
So do you like cuddle and his face is hearing? You have to have a selfie with that, right?
well, of course. Well, I got it on my phone. I don't have a selfie with it. I got a picture of the pillow, which is pretty dope.
No, put your face on that sumbitch and get a picture. Come on.
Zack Attack, man.
Yeah.
Zack Attack is back, you know. But, you know, Eli, last thing tonight, and this has been a blast. Certainly, Binghamton, lighting the show on fire tonight.
B.
Big B, man. Big B is your favorite part of this industry. I mean, you just keep getting bigger and better. Impact is really changed for the better with you in it. What's your favorite part about this industry? What do you love so much about it?
My favorite part of wrestling was always the guys who could talk. My litmus test, in a sense, is my brothers, actually. My brothers always watched wrestling with me as a kid, as I was growing up. But as I got into high school and they were in their 20s, they kind of fell away a little bit until the Attitude Era came in. And at that point, they would always say, the best part's the talking. And they were kind of right. Like, to me, the talking was always the best part. The wrestling was almost secondary. I know, but the wrestling's just shut up. It's like you got to be able to tell a good story. Like I didn't care about a Dean Malenko. I'm sorry, Dean. I actually like you. You're a nice guy personally. Amazing worker in the ring, but it's just boring if you can't tell me a story.
Thousand Hold.
Yeah, but that didn't mean it. I mean, at least that was the only thing he had. But if you can say something memorable and give me memorable moments, that's something. Nobody goes up to Steve Austin and goes, Steiner! If anything, they pretend they got beer cans and do this, or they go, they go, that's the bottom line, because there's memorable stuff as opposed to going up to somebody, moonsault. It just doesn't. It's not something you do. So my favorite part of the industry was always the drama, the trash talk, all that kind of stuff. And if you can throw in hard-hitting action on the back end of that, that's amazing. But to rely only on that action and to not be able to bring it with any kind of character or anything like that, which I think is a plague in this business right now. Sorry, just speaking the truth. I think we're doing the business a disservice. I think we're doing the fans a disservice, and I think that's why you look at like a Raw and SmackDown TV audience where they're not, or I'm sorry, not TV, the live audiences where they can't fill the arenas, or even the TV audiences where they can't fill the hard camera side, or Impact, I can say. I will say Ring of Honor is doing well, but they're in their own niche group, and they're able to sell out Madison Square Garden or whatever, but they can't do that every week. That's a once a year thing. That's like a WrestleMania type thing or whatever. So, and that's a testament to the business changing to where that niche group likes Cirque du Soleil stunts and dangerous moves and stuff like that. But the general audience, if you want to grow your audience, you need to tell stories, you need to have characters, and that's how you bring them in. That's my favorite part of the business. So that was a long, drawn-out answer.
Love it.
You got it all very detailed, because I'm a detailed man.
We thank you so much, Eli, for that. Your final message to the fans out there. We're here on WrestlingInc.com.
Go F yourself. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, man. Just keep watching wrestling, keep enjoying Impact, keep enjoying Eli Drake, and yeah.
Eli Drake, Impact Wrestling down here in Binghamton, New York for WrestlingInc.com. We're going to head to Malibu Sands or Bayside next.